Senator Ted Cruz and Alabama Republican Katie Britt very recently sat down with Bloomberg to talk about a new bill they have proposed that would protect IVF and guarantee it nationwide. I'm going to play a little bit of this interview and I'm going to talk about why this is not a consistently pro-life stance and why Senator Ted Cruz is hypocritical on this issue. This is a big deal. So I'm going to let this play and provide my commentary throughout. As always, agree or disagree, please leave a comment. If you have anything to say to me, remember to like the video, and let's get into it.
Unfortunately, we've seen a number of people try to fearmonger on this very issue. And so Ted and I came together and we believe this effort should be bipartisan to make sure that every parent across the country who wants to bring life into this world and maybe struggling with infertility or others, but wants to use IVF to create the miracle of life, bring it into the world, has a certainty that that's going to be available to them. And so we're excited about it and believe that it's something we can move forward quickly.
Okay, first of all, she talks about people, quote unquote, fear mongering. What she's talking about is people like me and millions of other who are consistently pro-life. We know, those of us who are consistently pro-life, we know that in vitro fertilization is wrong for two reasons. Number one, because it separates procreation, the begetting of children, from the marital act itself. It turns children into a commodity. It can turn the act of sex, of procreation, as she says, the miracle of life, into something that can be commodified and mechanized. It's inhuman. But number two, I'm going to get into this again. In the process of in vitro fertilization, many children, fertilized eggs, embryos, human beings are created either in a tube or in a petri dish, and one or maybe two of these are inserted into the woman's uterus. The remainder are either discarded, that's an abortion, or they are frozen. That is contrary to human dignity and human rights, to have individual humans frozen in a period of stasis until someone decides that they want to use them or sell them or discard them. Remember, the Alabama Supreme Court has ruled that embryos, as the ones that were in the in vitro fertilization clinic that were destroyed, are quote unquote children. That's exactly right. And here you have Senator Cruz and Katie Britt arguing against that.
Senator Cruz, then why wouldn't Republicans sign up for Senator Duckworth's bill earlier this year, which then actually would have protected what happened in Alabama?
Well, because that bill's a very different bill. That bill really seeks to backdoor in broader abortion legislation, which is where the Democrats are. But that's not IVF. Our bill is very simple and it's very focused, and it is designed to protect IVF. IVF is miraculous medical technology. It enables millions of parents to have children, to be moms, to be dads. 2% of live births in America right now today come from IVF. It's incredible. And both Katie and I agree that IVF is incredibly pro-family.
I'm going to stop the interview there. If you want to watch it, I will provide a link if I'm able to. Couple things about what Senator Cruz said there. Number one, he said this is for people, he called in vitro fertilization pro-family, for people who want to be moms and dads. Well, here's my big problem. Number one, Senator Ted Cruz is more intelligent than I am. So he knows how IVF works, and he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth. He pretends in public to be pro-life. He's not pro-life. He knows how in vitro fertilization works. And he knows that these people are indeed parents. And they're parents of more than the one or two children that they get from IVF. They're parents to all the embryos that are created, all of their children. I also know Ted Cruz is a Christian. And Christians believe that human life begins at conception. At conception, you have a body and a soul. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Hopefully this works here. Here we go. And this is a tweet from Senator Cruz from back in 2017. He writes, "Each life is a gift from God. Encouraged to see at HHS, recognize that life begins at conception." So it's Senator Ted Cruz admits here, and this is Twitter, but we can find dozens of examples of this. He admits that he believes that human life begins at conception. And yet he supports in vitro fertilization when he knows that more than the wanted child are created. He is all for consumerism, treating children like commodities. He's all for the slavery and the unjust freezing incarceration of untold thousands upon thousands upon thousands of humans who are created through this abhorrent process and then are either discarded, that's an abortion, a direct abortion, which is intrinsically evil, or are frozen for later use. IVF is unjust. IVF is a catastrophe. IVF is just as evil as abortion. And so Ted Cruz illustrates wonderfully for us the problem we have as Americans right now. We have no major party, pro-life Americans, I should say, we have no major party that represents our views. The Democrats are so far gone, I believe they're beyond redemption, and the Republicans are drifting ever and ever more toward the pro-death camp. In fact, the Republican nominee for president, Donald Trump, has also given full-throated support to IVF, and now we have Senator Cruz and others. And this is a catastrophe. We don't want to make slippery slope arguments, but IVF in and of itself is a great moral evil. And you can rest assured, I'd be willing to put any amount of money if I had it. I don't have much. I'd be willing to put it on the fact that give the Republican Party 5 to 10, 12 years, something like that, and they will be, by and large, a quote unquote pro-choice party. They will be supporting abortion. They just won't be as pro-infanticide as the Democrats. And because they won't be as pro-infanticide as the Democrats, they will say that they are pro-life, and they are definitely not. And so that was Senator Cruz, along with Senator Britt. I believe she's a senator, or maybe she's in Congress, I'm not sure, from Alabama. And we see the hypocrisy on display. In this issue, we're talking about in vitro fertilization, but it extends beyond in vitro fertilization, because the so-called right wing in this country, the populist right wing, so-called, is drifting, sliding, creeping ever more leftward. And so people like me and millions of others who are devout Christians who want to have a consistent pro-life ethic are left without a political home. Think about that. You could be a transgender communist and have more of a political home in this country than a Christian pro-life with a consistent pro-life, pro-family ethic, which is one more reason why at this point, and I don't see why I would change, come November, I'm going to be voting for Peter Sansky of the American Solidarity Party. Well, Peter Sansky has no chance to win, you might say. Well, I have to answer for God, excuse me, for the decisions of my conscience. I can vote for a man like Peter Sansky with a clear conscience and know that on every major issue, socially and economically, we line up. I can do that. I haven't done that yet in my adult life. I haven't been able to vote for anybody with who I wholeheartedly agree. And by the way, here we have a man, a brilliant man, and I agree with Ted Cruz on a lot of things. A brilliant man, brilliant legal mind. Here we have him shilling for in vitro fertilization when he could be out on Bloomberg and in the public eye advocating for economic justice in the truest sense. It is a shame and a crime that women in the United States of America, the wealthiest nation on the face of the earth, have to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to give birth in this country. It is a shame and a crime that men and women in this country don't have consistent maternity and paternity leave. And I could go on and on with the economic and social injustices that we have in place in this country. And here we have a brilliant mind like Senator Ted Cruz, who could be doing real good, advocating for real social, economic, medical, educational change, and he's shilling for in vitro fertilization. And the question is, why? Why is he out there doing that? Does he think this is going to win a couple independent votes for Donald Trump or for himself? What's the real reason? We saw from the tweet, and you can look up dozens of other examples. Senator Ted Cruz believes that life begins at conception. And Senator Ted Cruz, as well as President Trump and many other in the Republican Party, know that in vitro fertilization murders children, freezes children, treats humans like commodities. And this is a real problem. I'm going to stop there. Praise be Jesus Christ, Ave Maria. Again, if you agree with me, disagree with me, I like to see the comments. I don't mind engaging in a debate. Also to a few of my atheist interlocutors, I'll just include this here if you happen to be watching this, who I've been engaging in written debates with. I plan to get back on top of that soon. So if you stuck around to the end of this, you'll be hearing from me soon. Thank you very much. God bless you.